call this meeting to order of the Joplin School Board of Education, May 21st, 2016. We'll start with roll call. Pat?
Jennifer Martucci?
Present.
Chris Sloan?
Here.
Lori Messer?
Here.
Deb Fort?
Here.
Sherrick Dermott?
Here.
Linda Vanmore?
Here.
Jeff Coat?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if you could all join me and stand in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deb. Yeah. Okay. All right. The next item, before the approval of the agenda, I've got a couple administrative changes I need to make. We've got some public comments tonight. One of them comes regarding the agreement between the Joplin School District and the Joplin Board of Education, J&EA, and we can't have their comment until we've approved the agreement. So I'm going to move item G2 to be just before item E. Are there any other changes to the agenda that anyone would like to?
I want to remove the minutes, approval of minutes from the consent agenda. Just
Okay.
pull that out as an individual item.
Okay.
For May 10th?
Yes, please, just for May 10th.
Okay.
And I'd like to pull out item 2E from the consent agenda.
G2E? No.
No.
G7E?
To consent agenda F2E, stipends. Stipends. F2E, is that the same one?
I've got a
In here?
different.
So I guess it's just F2.
Yeah, it would be
F2,
F2.
personnel
Yeah.
recommendations? Okay.
Sorry, on the other one,
Okay.
it's 2E.
So they're both pulled up.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll make it easy.
Other minutes are still left in the consent agenda, just the 510 is pulled.
Oh, there are, okay.
Jeff, on the agenda I have stipends is listed as 2E. Did someone pull that?
Yes.
That's what I asked for.
I was a little confused by the lettering.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, if there's no other changes, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Sherrick and Lori, please vote.
Yes.
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 Deb, we
Yes.
missed you, sorry.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. So Deb, in this session, you will be first on voting as well, since you're in between Jennifer and me.
Okay.
Just so you know. Okay, first item up, celebrations. I've got a couple of items. I'm not sure if they're here represented. A couple things. We did have, the American Red Cross had a everyday hero, and we had our own coach, Jim Whitney from the high school, be recognized as an everyday hero. He has been involved with a club that he started called Dulius, which is helping students with immediate needs. And he says, we'd love to have some representatives from JHS to be able to help and share that service with others. So they've also already volunteered for another outing this weekend. So I appreciate Coach Whitney for stepping out and helping start that service group of teenagers. Let's see. Next item.
In the meantime, if I could say congratulations to our seniors who graduated. Congratulations to the staff for an outstanding job. Graduation ceremony went very, very well. So congratulations to Dr. Saketa and Dan. I just think that, and the governor, yeah, he kept his speech shorter than I thought he would, so it was really a very, very good ceremony. So anyway, did you figure it out?
I got it, okay. We've got a couple of Joplin High School students, Tyra Beal and Andrew Thulson. They received the All-American Athlete Award from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. great individual awards. The Joplin High School Band is leaving for
that's right.
Washington DC on Thursday. They're going to be playing in a National Memorial Day parade. I've got one other big one, and that's the history. The history group is also headed to Washington DC, and I know that's in here because
National History Day.
National History Day. Pat gave that one as well.
That's Ivan Overt
Yep,
and his group of kids.
yep. Ivan Obert, he's at
South.
South Middle School, and he prepared a group of kids for National History Day. They were able to place nationally and go on this trip coming up, and I think they leave in June.
It's in June.
It's in
First week
June,
of
so.
That's awesome.
Yep,
Yes.
so we've got a lot of good things happening. So what I'll do now is I'll move on to the committee.
Jeff?
Oh,
Did you want to read that note?
yeah, I've got
Thank you, note.
one more note. Thank you. Keeps getting moved. So to the Joplin Schools Board of Education, this came from Katie Hall. Katie, if you'll remember, she was our Teacher of the Year. She says, thank you very much for inviting me and recognizing me at your meeting last week. Your kind words and gestures mean more to me than you know. I'm very grateful to be a Joplin Eagle. I love teaching here these past 2 years. I'm looking forward to the future. Thanks again. And anyway, so that was very nice of her to share that. All right.
Any others? Okay.
Let's go to the next policy committee update.
We don't really have one. We haven't met since,
haven't met
we met
since
twice in
then.
April, so
Okay.
we haven't met in May.
Okay. The data committee analysis, we are meeting on Thursday morning. So we haven't had our first organizational meeting since we've set up on the committees, but we'll do that on Thursday very early. So thank you for those coming in early. Finance, salary, and benefits.
We have not met, but I sure would like to.
Okay,
Me too.
okay. Let us know the next
So
meeting.
is that something that we should set up?
No,
or-
we will set that up.
Okay, we
Yep.
need to set that up.
And then on the safety committee,
No report, no meeting.
nothing yet.
And,
Okay.
and, yeah, we'll set that up as well. We have people.
It's been 2 weeks since our last meeting, so,
Yeah.
and then we had this graduation and end of the year. Let's move on then to the superintendent's data report.
Basically, update on the FEMA.
Yes, just have a couple small projects we sent in May 20 for Memorial Hall temporary band, the van that we acquired for the band during the storm, post-storm time, and then JHS contracted security, a small project. We have receivable on those two, $1,857 from FEMA and SEMA, and $37,000 on the security piece at Joplin High School. So just those two updates on the projects.
Okay, then we have the, any questions? Then we have the health and dental care report, insurance reports.
Right, it's issued, the standard report is issued. You can see in there that our balance as of the end of April, slight increase, $8,000 to $144,000. So it's stable there from March to April. And of course, the authority you gave in April, we're going to make that transfer infusion in May. So we ought to be hopefully in good shape for the summer months and try to get to September 30 with that effort. So. But any questions you'd have on that report?
I have a question. What is our individual insurance premium going to be now?
What the board approved last meeting was, it's going to be about 20% of $592, which will be $120 per single premium. If you have dependent coverage, you would pay for spouse or children additionally.
So what's this 631?
That's the number of individuals that are paying.
Is that,
Right, the sum of those enrollment numbers equals 800.
okay, so
Those-
800
those
are
are
under
enrolled.
health, and this is the dental?
Right.
Okay, so that's not the
But-
premium amount?
No, that's the
Okay.
enrollment.
Okay.
Right.
And this is the premium?
Any other questions?
592?
That's the total premium starting next October that we adopted. And it'll be an 80-20 split, basically,
All right.
for a
good.
single.
Good. Any others? Okay. Then we have financial statements. Any questions on that?
Paul, I had asked you about our reserves,
Sure.
so I was wondering if you could share that information.
Okay.
please. Do you have that?
Last June 30, as we filed our report with the state, and we were audited, of course, as we are every year, our ending operating balance in the general fund was $14.2 million. Of course, we went into the year with a balanced budget, so we don't expect anything in our original budget to draw that down. And also, we're not quite through the budget year. I'll be bringing you the last set of budget adjustments like we do every year in June to account for any revenues or expenditures that need to be adjusted for as of the end of the year. But, and like most years, we had mid-year budget adjustments that we adopted January 26th, and that took balances down. The sum of those, I'm reading that action here that the board adopted in January, 1.6 million reduction, plus that didn't include the health plan infusion of last August, September.
Okay, so what was that?
That was $425,000.
Okay.
And also, we had a $383,000 increase beyond the original budget because in the fall, we also raised rates up to $500 last fall, so that was $383,000. But that January item totaled in that far right column $1.9 million. That'd be a takedown of balances with that action.
Of 1.9 million?
Right, that was a total of that board approval on January 26th. Beyond that, in April, we did adopt, as I just mentioned a minute ago, a second infusion of $650,000. And in the April meeting, when the board approved the Columbia West Central improvements to those buildings and grounds, we used a combination of current year budget of $400,000, so that's not a takedown, but we also, part of the financing of that was $264,000 of a budget adjustment that would lower reserves for that Columbia West Central combination. So sum total this year, we've had $2.8 million in reserve reductions based on board-approved actions, going against $14.2 million in there at the end of last year. That would tell us that some of those two numbers is $11.4 million might be a reserve number that we may be hitting or close to it at June 30. We have some more transactions and some more adjustments to bring to the board in June, but that'd give you kind of a ballpark feel.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, the next item is one we moved. That's the agreement between Joplin School District and the Joplin National Education Association. So before you, you've got a copy of the action item. As we've had a chance to all read through it, I'd be happy to entertain a motion to accept this proposal that was presented and unanimous. Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, Chris moved, Jennifer second. Any discussion? Okay, please vote. Deb?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, so that passed unanimously.
By the way, teachers, the board did talk about it, and they do like it. I just want you to know that that's not by, they're quiet, okay?
Right.
Okay, so just so you know that. All right.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is public comments. And one of those, the reason why we had to move that, our first public comment speaker is Crystal Stokes. Crystal would like to share something, so share with you. All right, when you approach the standing microphone, please give your name and address. Please don't identify any district personnel or student by name or any other identifiable information. And Linda's got the clock.
I appreciate it.
Feel free.
My name is Crystal Stokes. I am the Joplin NEA president. I am a Joplin school employee. I am going to ask if I can present other people with me, though. They are school employees. I want to take a moment and say thank you to the board for this time to recognize our negotiating team and speak on behalf of all Joplin NEA educators as their representative for all Joplin school teachers. I'd like to also recognize our negotiation team, which I have two behind me, Will Keskamethi, and she's trying to walk away quickly, Vicki Robeson. We also have others on our team, Tina Giles, Aaron Snodgrass, and Annie Smith, which is our Missouri NEA rep from Springfield. Thursday, May 12th, was an important date for two reasons. Last year, on the same date, in 2015, all Joplin teachers had an opportunity to vote, and they voted for Joplin schools to be able to collectively bargain a contract. Ironically, 1 year later, we get to ratify that contract. And we were very excited, and we did not plan that. Thank you, Facebook, for showing me that on that date what had happened. But the whole point of a contract is to have a goal, is to have a good contract. A good contract allows us to retain and to recruit excellent teachers. A good agreement allows us to have a teacher voice in the classroom and in professional development. It also assists in the support of classroom teachers in and out of the classroom, for example, student discipline. It also helps by improving benefits and pay. And I feel like, we feel that this agreement is the start to a great agreement. And this was the first step of retaining quality teachers and attracting quality teachers to Joplin. And we do thank you for having a board policy in place that we had an opportunity to vote on this. And I'm going to open it up if you would like to. Okay. Obviously, President gets to talk to. We also want to say thank you to our board for being supportive. We knew that our board supported us in this action. I also want to say thank you to Tina and to Paul because they were on the bargaining team for admin, and that was a big deal to us that you worked with us, and we had an opportunity to have a final contract before the end of the school year. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Next item on public comments, Sarah Newman. Sarah, if you can please approach the microphone, give your name and address. Please do not identify any district personnel or student by name or any other identifiable information. The standing microphone, thank you.
Well, this concerns the right future, so.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's good.
I guess we are.
Thank you.
Okay. My late husband, Joe, and I contributed to many causes in the Joplin community throughout many years. One of the most important of those concerned the Joplin schools. Joe was a founding member of the Joplin Schools Foundation, and I am continuing as secretary of that organization. In addition, I am a former member of the Bright Futures Advisory Board. I believe in this mission and have contributed to the work being done by this group. As you and I well know, the 2011 tornado changed everything in Joplin for everyone. Monies came flowing in to help rebuild and restore our schools. And if you have not been at North Junior or in the early days at the administration building, and Paul can attest to this, it was wild and woolly. There was money coming in, there were supplies coming in, it was crazy. The Bright Futures mission has always been to keep the community together, to support the children of Joplin schools so that they can be successful in school and in life. That mission got quite large after the tornado, as it did for every entity in town. Bright Futures has since refocused on the main things and are doing critical work that fill the gaps for kids that other agencies cannot. Bright Futures Joplin has always been self-sufficient. The funds remaining in the district that are designated for Bright Futures Joplin were raised by Bright Futures for this work. They are not, and have never been, commingled with taxpayer funds in any way. And let me repeat that. They are not, and have never been, commingled with taxpayer funds in any way. Bright Future's mission has always been bigger than snack packs, tennis shoes, and school supplies. And by the way, the foundation originated and funds snack packs. Bright Futures does not fund snack pack. It provides the manpower to load the packs for the kids. So we need to have that understanding, because that's been out there, a lot of misunderstandings out there. The mission has always been bigger than that, and school supplies, as can be evidenced in the original board documentation of the organization. To relegate those funds to just student needs is truly to stray from the donor's intent, as in evidenced by board documents and stacks of letters from donors who sent those funds with checks written to Bright Futures Joplin. By the way, all the checks that came in that were written to Bright Futures went into a special Bright Futures account that was created at that time. Any checks that came in for the school district went into the foundation account.
Jeff,
The
that's
donors'
three.
checks,
Okay.
if they did not have an intent on them, they were followed up to see what the donor's intent was for Bright Futures or for the foundation.
Thank you.
Just this last month, we have the foundation, because I'm the secretary of that, so I write the
Thank you.
checks. We have just now cleared out the entire tornado fund. Have you gotten that check yet, Paul?
Thank you very much, Ms. Newman.
3
Okay,
minutes.
I'm ready for our next speaker. Debbie Markman.
You get 3 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
Well, all my sides took up all my time.
No, I'm sorry. Thank you. Debbie, as you approach the standing microphone, please give your name and address. Please do not identify any district personnel or student by name or any other identifiable information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Debbie Markman, and I am with Economic Security Corporation in Joplin, Missouri, and we are a community action agency whose sole mission, it was created to eliminate the paradox of poverty on the midst of plenty in this nation by opening to everyone the opportunity for education and training, the opportunity to work, the opportunity to live in decency and dignity. This is a grassroots effort, meaning that we are charged with developing opportunities in our community. So I'm here today to kind of talk about the history of Bright Futures and how it started. So where I want to start is we started in actually 1994 with what they called Graduating with a Future Task Force, which was a group of 7 community leaders that gathered to discuss why high school seniors were at risk and becoming dropouts. This persistent problem, if allowed to continue unchecked, would lead to families lacking adequate skills to a living wage job, which leads to poverty. In 2007, the schools district invited the community to a strategic planning session, and Economic Security Corporation was invited, where we joined the Persistence to Graduation Subcommittee. And that was, the whole purpose was to increase graduation rate. ESC's work specifically was in 3 strategic commitments, and those were adopted by the Joplin School Board on April 2009. Strategic Commitment 5 was to partner with 50 faith-based organizations. Commitment number 4 was partnering with 50 new businesses. And number 6 was partnering with 20 human services. So those were the commitments that we made during that time. ESC was committed to those strategic commitments, and when President Obama initiated the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act in 2009, which provided economic security with additional funding through the Community Service Block Grant. And that is initially the funds that we used to engage in a partnership with the Joplin schools to implement 3 strategies. And those 3 strategies were to educate our community about poverty, organize 3 community groups, and build a relationship with students, school facilities, and/or their families. And this is the important piece if you don't remember anything else, with current community resources. We weren't looking outside for anything else. We have the resources here. We all recognize that graduation matters, but it was more than that. It was about developing a productive citizen, one who works, serves, and raises their family here. These are the Bright Futures facts, how it grew from a vision, and it's important to know Bright Future's strengths is based within the community's resources. The faith-based partners are pivotal to the success of our community. We have 22 members strong, 18 human services, and 165 businesses. So 22 years ago, graduating more kids, empowering them to a brighter future one at a time. This must be our community's Keep It Simple agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker is Julia Narrow. Again, as you approach, no personal identification, and please, the floor is yours.
Okay. I feel like I should grab this and hold it. I kind of like microphones. Okay, so I've been the school counselor at South Middle School for 17 years. Long time. So I've seen a lot go on. I actually started here in this building for 10 years as school counselor as Memorial, then when they did the redistricting, then I went to South Middle School. I don't have a prepared statement, which is an advantage and maybe to some people a disadvantage, because I can easily go over the 3 minutes. However, I want to be able to see all of it. And if I have something in front of me, I'll be reading it. I'm here on behalf of Bright Futures. However, my knowledge prior to this moment in time about Bright Futures, I chose to keep it somewhat distant. However, my agenda, I guess if I have one, is students. Is definitely the students first and families first, because as a school counselor, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. And if there's anything at all that I can just, climb up on a hill and die for, it's the needs of our students in our community and how that definitely needs to be bridged. It's every day as a school counselor, and I'm the only school counselor in a school of 600 plus middle school students. It's just me. And I'm the one that is dealing with all of the social, emotional, academic, career, issues of students on a daily basis. So I'm here to say that job is very, very difficult. To have those deep, needed conversations with families, with those students, to see the students' eyes, to see them cry about some of the things that I know they need, and to be the only person that tries to get some of these services for these kids and for these families is impossible. And there's just not enough manpower to do it. And if there's any way, shape, or form, the history of Bright Futures, if it can possibly help me and all the other school counselors do this, then I think we'd all be somewhat neglectful if we didn't allow them and us this opportunity to do this. Because it's definitely there. It's not every day that I'm going to be speaking to the board about anything. I try to stay diplomatic. A lot of the school counselors do. We try to stay out of this kind of, firestorm of information, but there's anything that all school counselors will say is, we need more help. And to the best of my knowledge, that's exactly what Bright Futures is going to provide us. So, did I keep in my time?
Yep.
You are.
18 seconds.
Anything else you want to say for 15 seconds?
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you. I really do appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Well, we have an official clock timekeeper, so
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Christy Barnhart. And when you approach the standing microphone, please give your name and address. Please do not identify any district personnel or student by name or any other identifiable information.
Christy Barnhart, 4570 East 26th here in Joplin. I'm here this evening on behalf of Bright Futures, but I'm really wearing two hats tonight. The first of which, of course, is I'm currently the chairman of Bright Futures. And I think what we're here for, everyone's aware of. So I'm going to go to my second hat that I'm wearing tonight, and that's one of a parent of 2 kids in the district that shall remain nameless. I had the privilege to serve on the parent forum that Dr. Ritter put together, where we were able to give input into the 5-year plan, and that was really exciting for me. Because my background is I was raised with education being a priority from my parents, and that's just something that's, I don't know, part of who I am. And when I saw that 5-year plan, I'm thinking, wow, I'm thinking big picture. I'm dreaming about the fact that In 5 years, I hope the biggest decision that this board has is whether or not to have a bond issue, because our buildings are overflowing with kids that are coming to Joplin because this is the place to be. And I know for that to happen, it's going to take a lot of different cogs in that wheel to keep it spinning. And one of those cogs is the community aspect of the 5-year plan. We have a model that's working. There are people behind me in this room that all they want to do is help kids. And they want to help you, honestly, get to that point where in 5 years, that's the issue that we're dealing with. We have a model that works. I feel very strongly that all of us, we just care about the kids. We just want to help. We know it's working. I thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Right. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that everybody?
Pat, are there any others? That's it?
Okay.
Okay. The only thing left on the consent agenda is the non-May 10th minutes. And so, let's see.
Wait a minute.
There's a May 24th in there.
Oh, I see what
Is that
you're
right?
saying.
Yeah,
Is a
non-May.
non,
Yeah, the
sorry.
non,
Yeah.
yeah. So if there's no reason to look at those individually, I'd accept a motion to approve the consent agenda with just those May 24th minutes.
It can't be May 24th, it's going to be April.
Sorry.
Today's May 24th.
Did she sign up?
Matter? Well, I did not receive it, but she.
Is she filling out here?
No?
Yep. Right. If you bring it up to us, please.
Oops. Let's go get it.
Thank you. You know the drill by now?
Yes.
Name and no identifiable. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Wilson, Minister of Mission and Outreach at South Joplin Christian Church, 1901 South Pearl. And I come before you this evening to speak in favor of the work that Bright Future has done. Our congregation has been a partner and signed our agreement with Bright Futures in 2012 when I first came on staff, specifically hired in my congregation to do mission and outreach and lead our congregation in a new direction. And part of that job, I was specifically told, we want to establish a firm commitment and relationship with Bright Futures because we feel meeting the needs of the students and teachers are very important. And so I took that task upon me, and during the last 4 years, we have really vested in Bright Futures and the support of the teachers. We are currently a partner with Irving Elementary School, having started with the school when it was Emerson out at the old Duquesne building, and have continued to grow in that partnership. And I want to applaud, the staff, representatives and staffs of Bright Futures helped me to understand the importance of the work that Bright Futures was trying to accomplish. And I think through that, I found that it became very key that as relationship built with the school, with the Bright Futures staff, that it became very important to our congregation. And so each year I have been able to encourage more people within the congregation to help volunteer and meet other needs in the school. Over the years, the 4 years that we've been partners with them, our site council has become very active, and we have become involved with even working with the student council to show the students and help build their leadership skills. We instituted an urban art fair 3 years ago as a way to encourage the students and their art ability and to show their parents, what they were able to do, and then had community people come in and help us with an auction so that we could help raise funds for the College Bound program, and we've done that for 3 years, which has made that easier for the principal at Irving to get that organized. We started the first Friday reading day at the end of last school year. This school year, we were successful, and I had at least 13 people from my congregation who were going into Irving with other volunteers from other faith-based partners and read to the students, which helped us to build a relationship with the students and to encourage them to read. This year, we started a pilot project of
early morning mentoring and tutoring, trying to help the kids to build their reading skills. 7:15 in the morning is early for a lot of us, but there were volunteers who said, let's see if we can make this program successful, and if it is, then we can continue that next school year. We have family in our urban school who had a mother who was terminally ill. We were asked, could we provide meals for that family because the father had to give 24-hour care to the mother. And we, as a congregation and some of the other partners, said yes. And for our congregation, as the relationship developed with that particular family, when the mother passed, the father expressed to one of my congregation members, you know, I really want to have a memorial service for my wife. We don't belong to any church, and we don't know what to do. And so we graciously said, that's no problem for us. We can take care of that need. And so we found opportunities since we've been a partner to do those kind of things that are outside of the scope of what the school can do and even what the Bright Futures organizations can do. And I feel that the faith-based partners can fulfill a role within the community that other organizations can't. So
thank you, Ms. Wilson.
I really applaud the organization and realize that it does take staff people to help keep us organized, that we can continue to do this work.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, no others?
Not that I'm aware of.
Nobody?
Anybody?
Okay. Just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity. Thank you. And everybody that did speak tonight, thank you very much for coming in and showing your dedication and your willingness to share your information. As Ms. Wilson did say, it does take the community to get involved and to buy into it and be a part of it. And you guys are part of that community, and I appreciate you coming in and being a part and sharing with us. To the consent agenda, there are minutes in there that are not the May 10th. So I would move for approval of the consent agenda minutes minus the May 10th.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Sherrick and Linda, please vote. Deb?
Jeff, weren't we also removing item 2E stipends?
Yes, that's out. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It's just the minutes, not May 10th.
And not stipends.
And not stipends, right.
Correct?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I vote yes.
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 Yes?
Yes. Okay, that passed. Okay. Do you want to address the May 10th minutes, please?
Sure, and they're very simple. I just, on our Employee Health Committee, we had, one of the deltas of the committee was that a retiree had not been a member of that committee, and the board had agreed with that, and we had kind of all nodded our heads in agreement, and maybe I should check, make sure, but I felt like we needed to state in the minutes that it was a recommendation of the board that we include a retiree on that committee. And if you're in agreement with that, if that's what you all understood, I wanted to be sure that was stated in the minutes.
Yep.
And then the second thing was on the Smith and Boucher bid proposal, being decreased by $91,000. I wanted to state that the $91,000 included, or what was taken out was the AV, audiovisual equipment, and 12 visits, just so that was clarified for us.
Okay.
Is that what you all understood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So can we make can I make amendment including these two, and I can hand it to you,
Yep.
to the May 10th?
You're making that motion then, to approve them with
I'm
those
sorry,
changes?
yeah, make the motion to approve the minutes with this
Okay.
amendment.
Yep.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Jennifer, second. Deb, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, okay. So
Do you have that
moved.
email,
It's-
or do you need it? Okay.
That's been approved. Okay, next item is stipend.
Stipend.
I'm sorry.
Accounts payable?
No, personnel recommendations. I have it here on the agenda as F2.
Those were under the consent agenda.
We pulled them out. Are we going to discuss them? To discuss them?
I thought we were talking about those in.
Oh, and close because they're
Because they're-
personally identifiable?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we can go to regular agenda item. Paul?
Yes.
Accounts payable.
We have accounts payable items for payment of materials, equipment, services, salaries, and benefits in both instructional and support areas. Administration recommends the board approve payment of bills in the amount of $6,651,879.99.
I move we pay bills as presented.
Second.
I guess I need some clarification. Since it's time for questions. correct?
Yep, oh, yeah, that's correct. Been moved by
just-
Linda, second by Sherrick.
$289 for Big R's Pies was that for Fusion? What was this for, do you know?
Let me look up on the bill list here and see what it's coded to.
Or did we have a party and I didn't know about it?
We weren't invited,
Yeah.
not like pie.
You said Big R's, is that right?
It's just one thing that kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, $289 for pies.
Well, it's, most of those, I'll see what this says here, but most of those are a club or a student celebration, teacher appreciation type activities. Let me see exactly what this one, okay.
Coming out of the activities fund?
Yes,
Kind of an in and out
14, right, they're coded out of an activity fund, and that particular one was, I think, a combination of teacher appreciation and student map celebrations we have every year. I think I pulled that one.
On our paperwork, it'd be nice to know, was it reimbursement on a fundraiser, was it whatever group?
Right.
We don't have
talked
that
about
information.
We
Right.
talked about that because of your questions.
I'm going to include on your back page of this document
Okay.
in the future,
What the coding is?
the coding for these activity funds to indicate there's
That's really
offsetting
helpful.
revenue that the clubs sell cards for, or that sort of thing. So you
That
have
was my
that.
question, I couldn't tell from
Right.
anything.
And we need to
That's
give
it.
you, yeah.
Right, we'll give you more information, so, and then, we can still have questions, but that gives you better understanding of the account codes, and is there revenue behind these because the kids help maybe raise the funds?
Sure,
Okay.
that's part of my question.
There's
As a new board member, I guess I'd have a question. I mean, don't we have a process that you all go through when you approve expenses like this and other expenses, and
Right, like the club of Fusion, the club coach or the club head would probably
Jennifer, can you tap,
recommend to the principal that,
can you
may I
tap our
spend my
connection?
activity fund for club-raised funds for, say, this purpose of a celebration, or we're having a meeting, so the principal would typically sign as an authorized signer for the club coach, that sort of thing.
right.
Well, that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a question that's come up, and Norm, I think we talked about this. We didn't have a chance to talk about it in there, but there's a payment in there that it may be a duplicate payment. The travel reimbursement for a former employee that's already been
Compensated.
compensated. So.
Yes, it's number 88770.
So,
And that particular check is one of the payments that we do request pre-approval payment from the board every year. It happens to be on tonight's agenda, not for that reason, but every
Okay.
year that we're bringing up this for the next year's approval for certain payments like reimbursing employees for personally paid expenditures, immediate student needs, maybe a requirement of a purchase order. I'm looking at the items going to come later, but that payment you're referencing is one that we felt at the time, looking at Dr. Ritter and I and Norman Rouse discussed it, looking at the agreement document that was paid at that time, and based on this pre-approval, the check was issued like a certain number of our checks are for that purpose. So that check has been issued and cleared.
okay.
So that kind of stuff isn't
Well,
included
I
in
have
the
a question about this
compensation?
because
No,
I know Dr.
no, it's
Ritter
not.
wasn't in that meeting, but Paul was in that meeting. I think Norman was in that meeting, and we allocated $50,000. I didn't, but the board overall allocated $50,000 for this specific purpose. So why would we pay $218.54 when we allocated $50,000 for that? And what can we do to get this money back?
Let me tell you what the litigation expense with respect to P1, it was a request of our counsel that he come up the night before so that he could be prepped the night before as a representative of the Joplin School District. and that, it's my understanding that bill incorporates one night in a motel and a one-way and travel expenses or mileage one way. I understand what you're saying, Debbie. I agree with that, except that there are some other considerations that has to do with litigation, preparation for trial. Be more than happy to give an explanation of why I think that bill's needed to be paid, but I think I need to do that in closed session.
Okay, but we allocated $50,000 of taxpayers' money, and I don't understand why we're paying more taxpayers' money.
And I'd be glad to explain that to you, but it has to do with, beyond that agreement, preparation, anticipation for trial, which is pending, $6 million lawsuit. And again, I'll be glad to explain my rationale, but it really needs to be in closed session.
So,
And so this payment was already made because of another policy that we approved on timeliness of payments?
Well,
It was really based upon a discussion with our counsel in Kansas City. Again, it's a litigation expense. It is really a decision made aside from the agreement.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking about that. What I'm asking is, the reason this check already went out and cleared is because there's another policy that says
Oh, I don't know
some
that.
bills we
That's
pay
practice
quickly.
procedures.
Is that
Right.
correct?
that's the board,
Yes.
that's the board approval
Yes,
that was
okay.
received
That's
last
what I
year.
thought. I guess
Okay.
that was a Paul question, really.
Right.
so which came
Thank you,
first?
Paul.
Was it the council that said, yeah, okay, pay it? Or was it it was paid because it was timely?
There was,
I mean, I don't want to get into all the
Phone call,
particulars, I want to make sure,
it was a phone call. There
okay?
was a discussion, and
So there was an opportunity, it was a conscious decision that was made,
yes,
okay? And was the board involved?
no,
Okay.
not to my knowledge.
They worked through policy, that's about all.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't know the bill was actually being paid, but I knew there was discussion
Yep.
about the bill.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions?
I have a couple questions. Paul, there's a $24,513 bill on here for Sports Unlimited for Joplin High School. What is that? And
Sports Unlimited.
is that something we had already approved, or is that, it's over the $15,000 limit, so we should have, correct?
Right, yeah, yes.
I don't remember having an item for Sports Unlimited.
What page is that on, Sports Unlimited?
It could be a series of purchases.
24,000,
It's it's one amount, not added up.
it looks like it's coming out of the designation there of 4 on the front end of the account code would say it's capital projects, so
So is it for the safe room then?
Well, I'm
at
thinking-
West
Usually
Central?
those are coded
Well,
safe room.
Okay.
just,
Say.
I mean, this is absent sufficient description, I agree with you there, but was that the Sports Unlimited, the vendor that we bought the basketball goal from that we had a repair on?
I don't know.
Okay, I'd be glad to check into it and get
Okay,
back to
just
you.
because that exceeded the 15,000.
Well, yeah, a lot of things on here do, and they should all have gone to the board, and I would say most did if I was to bring those to you.
As long as you come back to
I would be
us.
glad to look this up and
Yeah,
report
if
back
you
to you.
could figure out what that is. And then we paid 130, we just refunded the bonds recently, and there was, I think, 132, there was a $66,000 for legal fees and $67,000 to our bond guys. And so what I want to know is, did we factor that cost in? Did we budget for that, or where did that?
Yes, that was all part of the board-approved action item. The cost of refunding the bonds was all part of the action item.
Okay, so we knew that. Where does that money come from?
That comes from the debt service account that was benefiting from that refunding action, where we lowered the interest rate from 4.5 something to 2.09. To do that requires professional services, so that's the fund that paid to have that
Okay, but that
performance.
savings will more than.
The $8 million
make that-
savings will more
Yeah.
than cover that, yeah.
And that's not something that recurs
No, that was the fee for the
It's
transaction.
all
A
part of the whole
one-time
package.
fee for
Yep.
that whole thing, okay.
Right.
Okay, and then, there was, a couple of Storm Stanley bills. One was from a Hub Sports subscription, which was $2,400, but that was in addition to that monthly advertising, and so we had talked before, because that is such a great month. Have we put that out to bid?
Yes,
We have.
and I think that's coming back to work on in the coming week or two, the results of that. It's all geared for it to be brought to board, I believe, in the June meeting, so that it can start, the service of July 1 forward can apply to the results of that bid. So I believe it's coming to the board for action in June.
So you did kind of an RFP for that, for all
the-
advertising services? So other advertising firms have bid on that as well, or it's only going?
That was delegated to the user, Franklin Tech, and I helped input on the process, but they put the RFP out with some input, and yes, it's going to the open market to.
Okay, so it'll come to us with multiple bids,
Right, the
not
results of
just
that
the-
will come to the board for action.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. No other questions? I'd entertain a motion to,
It's already gone.
I'm sorry, was that long ago?
We just need to vote.
Oh, yeah, Chris, you started that.
Yes,
So-
I did.
Good job. Okay, so there was a motion, Linda and Sherrick, second.
Did you second?
Deb, please vote.
No.
No,
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Okay, we're going to have to come back again and,
Wait a minute, we gotta pay bills.
yeah, we're going to have to come back again and do that.
No, we gotta pay bills by a certain time, don't we?
Well, in the list of $6 million that I could go through tomorrow and gauge the impact and report back.
Are there certain ones we need to pull out, discuss, and then pay what needs to go in?
can we do that? Well,
Yeah, I think you can pull out certain items.
Let's do, yeah, let's do that.
Pull out what we need,
If we gotta pay
then,
bills.
yeah.
then
Told it needs to be done.
someone,
As is, I.
someone that voted no needs to make the list of what to pull out, aside from the 8870. I mean,
I think that's the one that's got the problem.
that's the biggest problem. It's
So
already been
everything else
paid
is
in
okay
cash.
other than that one? We could pull that one out.
Well, no, that's
They've
already
already
cleared the
passed.
system because it was,
I know, but we could still pull it out.
I mean, pull it out of the
Not approve it.
action?
Yeah, not approve it,
Yes,
yeah.
true.
And then discuss.
And the other ones are okay then, am I correct?
I don't have a problem with the
Yeah.
other.
Okay, so,
Yep.
so you need to
All
pull
right,
that
so
one out.
somebody that voted in the negative needs to make a motion
I make
to,
a motion that we pay bills, but we remove item 88770.
Oh, okay, she's got
Okay.
it down.
I'll second that.
further discussion?
And just for clarification, that's, okay.
Yeah.
You
That-
got it?
That's the right one.
Yeah, the
Yep.
$218
Yep.
item,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Okay, Deb, you're first. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Now we can pay
Okay.
bills.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right,
Thank you.
yeah,
Okay,
It just made people happy.
all right.
I just, yeah,
Thank you.
keep us above water.
Next item is number 3, salary
Yes,
schedule.
Yes.
Yes, the schedules before you relate to the principals, certified administrators, and classified staff with attached salary schedules covering those staffs. The projected cost with fringe benefits included for all salary schedules, $1.957 million, which will be included in next year's budget. And steps do not, as we state on the schedule, steps do not reflect years of service on any of the schedules. All staff raises are recommended per the supplement included with the action item. With limited funds identified and available, the intent was to apply available funds in a way to provide school staff a cost of living raise that may cover the increase of $315 to the employee's share of the employee health insurance plan for next year. By increasing the base, employees on the top step of a salary schedule will receive the same increase as others on the schedule. Retirements included in this recommendation, which both the employer, the Joplin schools, and all staff have to pay their parts of retirement. And The administration recommends the Board of Education approve the attached salary schedules for the 2016-17 school year.
I'm on the Finance, Salary, and Benefits Committee, and I'd like for the committee to look at this and get some clarification before the board approves it. Wondering if
Were
we
you
can
involved?
table it.
Were you involved with, I'm not on the
No.
finance anymore.
No.
Okay.
No, this didn't come to us at all, and I've got some questions on the, honestly, on the, some of the administration, just as far as what we have for minimum and maximum, I mean, their current salaries, that's not really a salary schedule, as far as what's in there, and I would really like for the committee to.
Are you making a motion?
I am making a motion that we table the salary schedules until, and send it back to the committee, let the committee meet, go over it, and let the committee bring the recommendation to the board.
I second that.
Okay. There's a motion by Jennifer and a second by Deb. Any discussion?
I think we
Some
basically,
items that we had said we wanted to be rectified before we approved the salary schedule, and it doesn't appear to me that those things were done. I know we got an email from Paul an hour before the board meeting began, but honestly, I didn't have a chance to look at that with it coming so close to the board meeting. So I would like some time to look at that and have some discussion about some of the things we'd ask to be put in there.
yeah, I just want to make sure that our staff realizes what Paul said as far as the salary package is concerned, because I know there's several things that you want to tweak, which is okay, but we need to give the staff an impression of what's to come, so that they have a good feel for that, and I think the staff has that now, so I can support this. I just want to make sure that it was very clear what Paul said in public, okay? And then basically, what's going to happen is we're going to have a conversation around ways to tweak that, and that's pretty much what you're asking for. Am I right, Debbie? Dr. Ford, I mean? I don't think she's listening. I think
Yeah,
we lost her.
and Paul,
She keeps.
your timing,
No, I didn't catch most of that.
okay.
Okay.
Your timing, Paul, is related to, this needs to be approved by June 30th, so that it's in, I
Right.
mean, obviously, the sooner the better, but that's the deadline you're working with, is you have to have it all done by what date?
Well, the budget is going to be adopted at scheduled by the 28th June meeting. Of course, by statute, it has to be adopted by June 30. This is an integral part of the budget,
Right,
so.
right.
I
So-
would say, and.
Obviously, the sooner the better, but it
Right.
has
I mean,
to be
there's a-
included in the
there's a-
budget.
Yes, and there's also, I guess, a June 14 scheduled meeting.
Okay.
I
But-
think it would be better if we could bring it
Yeah.
back to the June 14th, because
Right.
we do need some latitude when
Mhm.
schedules change for 12-month employees. And
Right.
anybody that has extra duty, we need those to be done before
Yeah.
that first duty day.
June 9th, we are planning to have a meeting that day with our search firm. That was
That would
going to
be
come up
better.
during Norm's presentation for superintendent. So we will be together if we can get a
Aren't they
quorum.
asking just for committee? Is that what, her
Yeah.
original
I'd like for the
statement
committee
was
to
for
meet
committee,
and have these
as
go
opposed
back
to the board?
committee and let the committee
Okay.
look over them and get some clarification
Sure.
and let the
Okay.
committee make the recommendation to the
That's
board.
fair.
So let you guys look at it first.
Yeah, that sounds great. I can meet anytime
Okay.
after,
But-
next week I'm free.
But it'd be good if the committee could do its work and hit one of the June 9 or June 14 or earlier
And
dates.
Yeah, the sooner the better. That helps
June
build.
14th 's out of the picture,
We can
June
give
9th 's
you
the
enough
date.
time.
Okay, June 9, okay, forget 14.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a motion by Jennifer and a second by Deb.
To have them look at
To table
it.
it to,
To the next meeting.
till the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deb, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Okay. Next, pre-approval and reporting of time-sensitive payments.
Right, I referred to this earlier in answer to a question. Last year, we wrote this action item up to apply, to bring back to the board every year to address the next year's bill payments that meet this, to which this would help meet the need of keeping certain payments that are tied to contract, purchase orders, reimbursing employees, to allow us in a fairly tight definition to go ahead and issue those checks and continue to report them to the board like we do. It's not a non-reporting approval, it's a pre-approval to keep some of the payments out that apply to this nature as described here. So bringing that back for approval for next year.
Okay. I know the importance of this. I'm going to make a motion that we approve this with the addition of language that says if you need to contact legal to know whether or not to pay something, at least the board officers are contacted. That we're supposed to represent
With those
you
exceptions.
in the meantime anyway, so at least we have that one opportunity for review, and that doesn't put you in a bad spot
No, I
of
think
what
that's
you
good.
do. So that's my motion, that
To amend the action item to say
amend the
that-
action item to add, if legal representation is needed, that the board officers are contacted as well.
That makes sense.
I think you and Jennifer.
Right now it is, but, I mean, it could be whoever it is. I mean,
There you go, sorry.
We're better.
so,
Okay, Jeff.
there's a
made it.
motion,
Go
oh,
ahead, tell her.
Deb, there's a motion to approve the timely payment with the addition of language that says, if legal advice is needed, the Board of Education officers will be contacted also.
Okay, so is this the item that says time-sensitive payment?
Yes.
Okay, and this is how that, okay.
So to remedy it, I made the motion to include the caveat that board officers will be contacted if legal advice is required for that payment as well. So,
So in the instance this month where we made a payment that,
yes.
in my opinion, should not have been authorized, we would be contacted before something like that happened?
Right, the officers would be.
Is that what your amendment is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
So I have a lonely amendment with, or a lone.
Second.
Okay, there's a second from Mr. Sloan. Okay, if no further discussion, please vote. Deb?
Yes, with that amendment.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Paul, do you want to discuss the easement?
Sure.
Situation? Thank you.
Yes, and there's a map on the wall that refers to the location of the easement. That's, the top is north, and that's 20th Street on the top 1/3 there, and the bottom portion is the high school property. And this action item relates to a request for a donation of an easement approximately 35 foot from Grand Street on the left there to the right border, which is Indiana, where Dr.
Over here?
Yeah, that's Grand, and then, but that very top kind of snake-like feature is a proposed sidewalk that would go on a new easement if the city were to kind of redo the street and create some sidewalk and some features along between Main and Range Line. The city has grants that they're getting ready to go out for a bid and get bids back and select contractors, I believe, in the fall. And along our property, just like along the rest of 20th Street, up and down, with all property owners, they're trying to acquire easements to accommodate their project. And ours, the request is for Joplin schools to donate approximately 35 foot off the existing street right now. You see the dotted line there below that sidewalk for easement purposes for the city. And that's the request in the action item.
Why don't you explain this?
That stub there is kind of, it's an opening, and that's there at our board's request, should the board want to do that, that the city, when they go out for bid and ask for this several miles of street and curb and gutter to be built, sidewalks, they would accommodate our board's request for an opening there, should our board want to do that. That's part of this action item. That's basically curbed and guttered with a stub end of maybe 10 or 20 foot of concrete for a future parking lot, should at some point in the future.
Parking exit.
Our board, tie into our grant, because right now it stops at grass. But our board would have to build some road and tie in, should our board choose to do that in the future. So nothing to commit a future board, but the idea is if you build the cut in now with multi-million dollars of contractors working that street from Range Line to Main Street, we'd probably get better prices than to try to break into it later
Right.
and create that cut.
Now,
There's no takeout and trade, right?
no,
So.
now there has,
And the city, the city is asking for, if the board wants to do that, to advance the city a payment of $40,000. Again, as part of this action item, should our board want that request as part of this, to which the city would use that $40,000 to help build the
Right.
street and do that curb cut. And then when the actual invoices come in next fall, when the street's built, if it's $35,000, we'd settle up, get $5,000 back. If it's $48,000, we need to write a check for $8,000 more based on.
So there is no limit.
It's going to be the cost of the curb cut. They've contributed to the design. What you see, the city engineers drew that up, free gratis. But
They're estimating 40,000.
They're estimating 40,000, but they're going to provide us, we know what the construction is going to say exactly what that curb cut costs in concrete.
and that's what we would approve.
And they would give us invoices to
Right.
prove that up, and we would need to pay those if the board adopted this.
So right now, the approval is to give the easement, which would include the potential for a future second exit from the high school main
Yes.
parking lot,
For safety purposes.
Which people have requested.
which people have requested. But in exchange, we would need to give up 35 feet of grass
Right.
next to 20th Street so they can expand that road, which would normally be a good thing. I was handed some extra information as we were coming in here. There's currently some discussion on fees from the city, additional fees from the city that were unanticipated. So I'm going to move that we table this item.
Okay.
We're going to meet back again on the 9th, and maybe we can resolve the additional fee discussion prior to that time. When do they need?
I think they need it, don't they need it Monday, next
Seems
Monday?
like, or
Or
is
no,
it
Monday
June?
after.
I'm going to ask Dan
Representative
Salisbury,
City here.
could Dan
Oh,
comment?
Dan,
I think
please.
they were going to do a display to the city.
Yeah,
And
No, you,
right up here, sit down. Have a
and
comfortable
you can take more than 3 minutes,
Okay, great.
but not much.
No,
No, you're fine.
1 minute.
You know, this is part of a large project that goes from Rains Line to Maine. And we got the idea of the right turn lane because it does move more traffic through there and there's green space. And so we had that idea. You all countered with, what about the right in, right out access to your property? And both of those things work well together. You know, alone, the right in, right out access does not work well without the right turn lane.
Right.
We're kind of in a situation where we're moving at a very rapid pace.
Okay.
We have a public meeting that was advertised, or will be advertised here in the next few days on June 7th. And, you know, if we leave here tonight with indecision, we will not show that right turn lane. We don't want to show anything.
It's not going to happen for sure.
We're not sure that we're going to do.
I understand the position you're in.
And so that's kind of the situation we're in. We don't have all summer to negotiate.
Right.
And all up and down the corridor, this is about the only location where we're adding a turn lane.
Okay.
Just because it's congested. And in almost every situation, there are temporary construction easements, and we ask everyone to donate those.
Sure.
And we expect a very high percentage to do it. A contractor can work without one. It's just harder.
Sure.
And the reason that we didn't ask, the last time we had a property owner insist on it, and it was just a temporary construction easement, we spent $400 to pay an appraiser to tell us to pay them $250. And I believe that property owner probably spent $1,000 in attorney's fees, and it just seemed like a tremendous waste of time and money. And one of the things in the very first meeting we had with property owners was use the money wisely.
Right.
And that doesn't seem like a very good use of the money. So we had the idea, we can do it without. We don't have to put the right turn lane in, and we're prepared to do that. What you see there with the curved sidewalk is kind of the elaborate version of a sidewalk.
It accommodates.
Most places, there's not room, so they're straight. And in fact, that is not a sidewalk. We call it a shared use path. And the difference is it's 10 foot wide, and bicyclists and pedestrians can both use it. So you get the bicyclist away from the motorist. There's a curb in between, and it's a lot safer.
Yep.
So this is just an idea, but, you know, if we leave here tonight with indecision on the donation, we will take it off of our public hearing exhibits. And
Are you aware with what the concern is?
Yeah, Norman talked to him.
Well, the concern is not about this area. I mean, we're prepared to say, okay, it's another issue, another land issue with the city that is the concern.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So.
About that, and I'm not prepared, that's not my department, so I can't
Understand.
really comment, but no city employee can waive those permit fees. And, you know, to give you an idea, since the tornado, I think there's been, what I was told, $564,000 worth of permit fees waived.
Okay.
So, you know, it was an attempt to kind of make everything work.
You got to get back to some normalcy.
To do that, it has to go to the council. They're the only
Okay.
ones that can waive something
I
established.
do
by
think
the
we have a
council.
legal issue there because of my experience in other districts. And we took that, not to court, but had legal interpretation, and really, we didn't have to pay the fees.
Okay.
So I think we need to get that cleaned up.
Okay, very
And
good.
So I think we need to take a serious look at that
Okay.
and really, also politically, you know, we're struggling with the TIFs, so let's not go there, okay? And so I
Well,
think,
and
and
we
it's
wanna-
not your position, but
Yeah,
anyway.
we want to be a good partner.
Yeah,
And the
I-
bottom
I
line,
Understand.
We want to be a
So-
good
I mean-
partner, and where we can work together, we want to.
And
I
I
agree.
think this is something that
Right.
this is not the concern that's come up, so.
Yeah, we're beyond
So
purpose.
I'm gonna, you think how I can resolve this?
Norm, how can we?
Maybe,
resolve-
maybe, can
We
it,
can resolve it separately. I think they're really two separate issues.
Okay.
If we can-
you're inclined to do this, I
Ha-
think-
Well, wait a minute. I mean, I'm at the table and I don't
Yeah.
have any idea what you're talking about, so I'm not
There's-
comfortable making a decision on anything.
there's $40,000,
$45,000.
$45,000
Basically what it is
that,
that, basically, we're getting ready to build the Early Childhood Development Center, and do some improvements at,
26th and
yeah,
McClellan,
but
or?
anyway, there's some building costs, and maybe it's what we're doing at Columbia. And, but anyway, there's some, we're doing some additional building, and the permit fee for, the Early Childhood Development Center is $45,000. And the fee for the other construction is $6,000. I was first alerted to this by Mike Johnson, said we've never paid the permit fee before. Evidently, I mean, you're saying, as an individual, not individual, but as an employee, you can't waive the fee.
Right.
But evidently, the city has waived the fees before. We are a governmental entity,
Yeah, so
and there's actually a statute that says that basically we don't come under zoning and planning because we're a governmental entity, we're political.
that's right.
So again, I'm saying that's really two different issues, but.
So that's the main issue, is we don't have, I don't have a concern about this, but that new element of, we're going to have fees on the building that we're going to construct with the community development block grant that's been given to us by the city. So are we refunding money that they've given us? And so it,
It needs to be.
So are you trying to table this and wait
we're
until
trying
you
to
get
put the two together
clarification?
and say, this is something that you would like.
Got it.
We have something you would like, and you have something that we would like, and maybe
Okay.
we can
So-
both
So
come
for the
out.
purposes of tonight, are we tabling this?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, what our options are, because he's got to have some indication that this is going to go forward for their meeting that they're going to have on Monday, and we won't have a chance to meet again by Monday.
Jeff, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
So when the city takes property for easements, do they pay the people for taking their property? Like, I know they're widening Zora Street, and they took people's front yards. Does the city pay for taking stuff, or are we?
Did you hear that, Dan?
When we acquire right-of-way, yes, the Uniform Act requires that
Hey,
we
Deb.
offer,
He's got an answer. Go
that
ahead.
we offer payment. And like I said, in this case, this is a little unusual. It's a way we can work together. But for every other property owner, it's only temporary construction easements. And it's not uncommon on every project we have. We bring a couple of things to it. We know something about engineering, and we bring a budget. In this case, it's either 7 or 8 million. It's 7 for Main and 8 for 20th, or vice versa.
Right.
That's all we bring. We don't have any more, and it only goes so far. And one thing that was loud and clear all over Joplin is people said, use your money wisely. And that's all we're trying to do. And it's not unusual. We have a project on 44th Street that Chris is a little bit familiar with, where we've had a lot of donations on the south side of the road of temporary construction easements. But unlike most projects on the north side, we've had verbal approval from the property owners to donate a significant amount of land. So there are all kinds of ways of working together.
Yep.
And we approach every project with that. Everybody brings something to a project. It can't always just be government doing everything. And
I think this would be good faith, is to say, have the easement, and we'll work out the other later. And I think the city, it wouldn't even look good for the city to charge the schools all this money for fees. I believe that, and this would be good faith. Here you go, and let's move ahead.
Are you making a motion?
I would like to make a motion. I'll put it in the form of a motion.
Okay, you writing this down? Okay, what is your motion?
I just said it.
Okay,
So,
so,
that in good faith, we give the easement to the city for this, the sidewalk improvement. Well, it's not a sidewalk, what did you call it?
it's a right turn lane.
Oh, well, the sidewalk.
widening.
Yeah, but anyway,
35-foot
give the easement there, and then to go ahead and give you 40,000. Don't go over that.
We'll do our best.
And let's get this going.
Yeah.
That's
all right, so that's the motion.
I'll second it. Can I ask Paul a question, though?
You can.
Would this be part of a capital budget cost, expenditure of $40,000?
This would, yes, because it's part of a capital project payment, and if we were building it ourselves.
Do you sense that we would have the availability of funds to take this project on?
Yes, we have sufficient reserves it would lower reserves by 40,000, not in the current budget, but yes.
Would it create a concern? I guess, but it's an acceptable amount for
Yes,
our
I think so. We had some earlier budget reserves discussion, and
Okay.
40,000 won't change anything materially.
And for my benefit, does this $40,000 just include the cut, or is it also the right-hand turn lane that is established just west of the intersection, and then it continues east? I mean,
It includes the curb cut plus the portion of the right turn lane that you would have to build anyway. Part of that right turn lane we would do regardless, and there's a little bit extra that you would need for a car to pull out there and merge to the left. So it's a little bit.
So it's a little bit, as we're looking at our illustration, a little bit of it goes north of what I see as the cut of the cost.
Yes, part of that right turn lane that's associated only with the cut.
I mean, that's a significant investment for just that cut, it seems, but
It's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate it.
And the people
And we only-
have said they want another turn lane.
I get that. I'm
Yep.
totally.
so there's a motion by Chris, and Sherrick even seconded.
But
so-
we're not even there. We haven't even built the
Yep.
There's not a
rest
road.
of
No,
it.
there
So-
may not be a road. That's
not
for
a
a future
driveway.
group to choose.
So,
Yeah, but that 40,000 is estimated sort of maximum it would cost us,
Well,
or?
it's subject to actual invoices
Right.
that come through
Yeah,
with their
so it
bidding
could be
process.
less.
Could be less,
And it could be more.
yeah,
My guess is with quantities as big as this project, it'll likely be less, but,
Okay.
we won't know that until we bid it.
okay.
And this may be is that a median in the middle, so it's a 2-lane? I mean, it's a double.
You can
Yes.
only turn right
raised
coming out.
Either way.
But they're coming
It's
in,
only turn right.
You
and
come
only
in,
right going out,
and-
yeah.
Okay, please vote, Deb.
Oh, I have one more question. So trading our property that we give to them in exchange for them building the median, that's not an option? That's not what we're talking about, is that
No,
correct?
no. This is trading property for them to allow this to be built into the street now, at our cost.
And this is not road leading up to the school then, it's just
No,
the
this is just-
action out in the road, the median?
Connects to 20th Street by about 6 feet.
Teacher planning.
And I'm sorry, it was cutting in and out, and I didn't really get all his response about, do they buy property from citizens? I couldn't tell if that was a yes or a no because of the connection.
At a small dollar amount.
In this case, for the donation, we would provide a document where you sign that says you realize that you could be compensated for it, but you're foregoing that. And then there'll be an agreement for the distance and everything.
It'll be a gift to the city with the hope that they would have a gift for us
Yes,
later.
it's the good faith
The
offering.
good faith.
Yeah.
But he can't promise
But
that
I
because he
can't.
has no
But
authority to
isn't
do
the
that.
gift for us costing us 40,000?
Yes, but it cost us 40,000 anyway if we were gonna have an exit.
It would likely cost you much more.
Yeah.
You would have to do the engineering, you probably have to do more of a right turn
So
lane.
it's a gift on the engineering,
And maybe on the cost.
What's the value of that?
10,000. So,
You know, I'm just concerned because of the tips and all the
Okay.
money that's been taken out of our
I
pockets
understand.
already.
I understand, so please vote. Either way, just an answer.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank
Please
you.
take that back to the city as a good faith offering.
The word faith.
Not a penny more.
Yes, very strong.
Yes, okay. Now we're at,
Time and attendance hardware.
Eric, I'm gonna hop over here.
Thank you, Dan.
This is for new time and attendance software / hardware. The hardware being the time clocks that are located at the bus garage and the buildings and grounds, and then there'll be one at the high school and then one at each middle school. And our current system is not really meeting our requirements. It's a little outdated, and then also the hardware, we've sent in 2 time clocks a year ago, we haven't got them back yet. So the support there is really non-existent. So we're looking to change vendors, and we put together a committee which consisted of HR, food service, buildings and grounds, technology.
Those people that will be affected by it.
People will be affected by it, and we got in 5 bids, and we looked at the top 2 that everybody wanted to look at, and we unanimously decided on Time Clock Plus as a group. So, I mean, there was no even consideration of the other one, because Time Clock Plus really met everything that what we were looking for, so.
Okay.
Do you believe it's going to be a savings over years? Is that?
I think in the long run, it will be. We won't have to supply servers, and I won't have to supply the manpower because it's going to be in the cloud to really maintain that and keep it up to date, or to have any downtime, because they'll update it on the fly, and they'll be a lot better at it. We won't have downtime where people are missing time punches or anything.
How many of you understood that? Anyway, the cloud, anyway.
I just
The
nod my
cloud,
head a
but-
lot.
Oh, there you go, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I just wanted to, you made the comment that you do have the money in your budget for this, or you are finding money in your budget?
Well,
for
it's
this?
in next year's budget, and we're asking for it to be approved now, because if we can get a PO number, they can get it to us in June, and that way we'll have time to implement it before, hopefully before the new school year starts.
Okay, so I move.
So Eric, that's come out of this year's budget or next year's budget?
Next year's budget.
I'm sorry, I
Next
missed
year's
that.
budget, and he does have space available for it.
And I'll second that motion.
Sheriff did, but you can vote yes.
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 Yes, that passed. Thank you, Mr. Pritchard.
Policies.
Next item, policy second readings. Tina?
We have a number of policies on second reading, and as you know, they were presented as first reading at the prior meeting. I'll save you the rereading them to you. If you have any questions, though, I'll be happy to try to answer them for you.
Only question, policy committee, we looked and reviewed them all in detail.
We did. We worked on them, and I would like to move that we accept policies 7A through H as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion by Linda, second by Jennifer. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Next item.
Jason?
Jason Craven's FTC enhancement grant.
And, yes.
Jason.
Mark Lynch is here representing Franklin Technology as well. So the enhancement grant for the forklift, if you go ahead and speak to that if you'd like.
Sure. After the tornado, when we moved to Grand, we didn't have any forklifts. And when we rented the building, leased the building from, they loaned us that one, or gave it to us. And also, it's kind of, it needs to be replaced. That's why they gave it to us, kind of. The enhancement grant normally doesn't buy this type of equipment, but they're kind of doing that for us. So we wanted to seize on the opportunity. I think we had like a 35. The bids have been coming in around 25. That's what we spend less. We don't have to pay a quarter of that percentage of that.
So it's
It helps.
pay less.
So you're paying 25% of the $35,000?
If it goes down. Yes, sir.
And that's an allowable expense under an HVAC.
It's under the enhancement grant for that program. As we're putting it under that program, it's, several programs can use it.
I accept a motion to approve this request as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Sherry?
I want to add one piece of information that Mr. Rockers gave to me, was that we can do certifications on this new one, which I think is a bonus for our students coming through.
It is.
So
Yeah,
I think that's an important point to
Factories would
push.
love that. Will Joplin schools be able to use it if they have time to load things?
Yes. In the high school side, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. On the
We
high
won't take it
school
across
side.
town, but
Yeah.
we'd like
Okay, so there's a motion by Sherrick and a second by Jennifer. Deb, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. That motion passes. FTC shed surplus?
Yes. Each year, well, the construction hasn't been able to build a house. They've been building these sheds. In order for us to sell the sheds, they have to be surplus. And there's a couple of them on the south end of the building. We just need to get them surplus so we can put them out and get them for sale.
I move that we allow them to sell those.
I'll second.
Surplus.
All right, so
Surplus them.
motion by Chris, second by Lori. Please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Superintendent search.
Okay, what we've done so far as the search, you as a board asked us to put out an RFP for search firms, and we did that. And they're due back June 3rd. We think we're going to get 4 to 5 responses. And so really to turn this around, I think we get them June 3rd. Then really we would like to bring the board together. We were talking about the 14th, but I don't think one or two of you couldn't make it. So we want to check to see if the 9th is time that everybody can make it.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday, the 9th?
I will be gone.
You will be gone.
In the middle of the river, remember?
Okay.
FaceTime.
Not there.
Okay, that's
one.
That's one. So Debbie, are you available?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
I'm available.
I'm looking for my phone. It's in my
Jennifer, are
hand.
you,
I am.
you're
Yeah, I
available?
am.
I have our church's kayak camp, and that's why I
Yeah.
can't.
Lori, are you available?
I believe so.
Linda?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have out-of-town family coming in that day, which has been planned for a long time. How long is the meeting?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it'll be that long
The-
because it's
The
basically.
idea was, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
He shared was if we have 3 firms come, it'd be 20 minutes each to give their presentation of why their firm should be selected. If there's 4, I would kick that down to 15 minutes each.
But no. This meeting was about looking at all the applications and then
Oh,
you
this
get.
is this is prior.
Yeah, you guys would just screen it down
Oh,
to
then,
whoever you
yeah.
want to interview.
Let's
and then
do it
we
when
can-
all 7 are here.
Okay, so to have all 7.
Chris, when are you back?
How about the 7th in the evening?
I'll be gone from the 5th to the 10th of June, there on the river.
Okay.
And so I'll be back on the 10th, but then Friday night, then I have a wedding rehearsal.
13th is a Monday.
I'm gone.
All that week?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What about that Thursday?
That Thursday, the 16th?
What's that look like for everybody? Everybody good?
16th, I could do.
You're off the lake and everything? Okay, everybody?
Thursday, 16th, okay, we'll
Well,
make it.
I better check mine.
Will you send us a reminder?
I think I'm okay.
Was there some reason we were looking at doing it that early? Was there some, I just can't remember.
That'll give us-
What
I had
time?
the note check there, then we pulled it up.
That's good.
Okay.
16th, okay.
What time are we looking at?
Thursday? So.
Thursday, what time?
5, I mean, is that okay, acceptable, or does it need to be later?
What works?
I'm free,
Okay.
so. Do it on the 16th, Deb?
Yeah, I looked.
5 o'clock?
Deb's okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
set up reminders if you
5
want.
o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Go 5 o'clock,
5:15.
I'd like, wait a minute, can we get the firms?
We
Yeah,
could
we should
come
be able to.
early.
Yeah.
Well, I just need some clarification.
Yep.
On the 16th, are you going to interview
No.
your whittled down list?
We're gonna screen them
Take the
down.
whole list.
So I'll need to just modify the RFP document and
Okay.
send it back out to them.
Okay.
because
Okay. Well, really, its deadline is the 3rd.
it
Oh, that's
is,
right, I
but we
remember.
set the time.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
On the 28th.
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, yeah.
We're good.
June 16th,
June
5
16th,
PM.
5
And then
p.m.
the idea would be then to interview them on our regular board meeting
At 28th.
on the 28th. That's why we wanted to get them in before,
Yeah.
we wanted to get this meeting before.
Right, screen them down.
Okay.
Well, anyway, that's the plan, and really, talking to a couple of the firms, there's no problem with announcing the superintendent by December. I think that can all happen, so I think we're in good shape, so. All right, so that's all I had at that point.
All right, thank you. Okay, next item up is the response to the Bright Futures letter to the Joplin Board of Education. Dr. Ritter?
Basically, you received the letter, and we had a conversation, just a brief conversation at the last meeting. I sent out 3 options for the board to consider. The board could consider options outside of that. It's up to you. It just, you asked me, and then I gave you the consequences or possibilities in response to those options. And then eventually, the administration is recommending that the board allow a loan for one staff member through December 31st to cover the cost for through December 31st. And so that's really what the package is. And so basically, I'd like to go ahead and let the board have a conversation around that. Administratively, we feel that Bright Futures needs a staff member to be able to do the work and be able to respond and continue the work that Dale's really doing. And so anyway, that's why we made the recommendation, okay?
And
So-
administratively, you mean building principals and all of that?
No, it was just basically my recommendation with my staff. I did not talk to the building principals on this
Okay.
recommendation.
Discussion before we have a motion? Have any objection
Objection to what?
to having a discussion before we take a
No.
motion? And we've had these to look at for several weeks, the options. We talked about it 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago. We had the original MOU that came in January, so that was a piece of it also. I felt that was, here's what we're gonna do to be able to help bridge to the new entity. We did honor the request, and actually, we went a little further than what they had asked for. They'd asked for separation. We agreed to fund 2 employees, not out of the activity fund, but out of the school reserves instead, so we didn't consume salaries in that fund. And I think the point of that was to be able to honor the donor intent for the funds to go to the activity and not the administration thereof. So the school took that administration piece on with a intent to get to a point where they're sustainable. I know they've had some fundraising opportunities and had a golf tournament that they sold out last week. I don't think anyone here, and I'm speaking still just for myself, I don't think anybody here thinks that the mission that they started to support the kids and to provide them immediate needs and to take care of it, nobody here is saying that's not important. I think everybody realizes that. I think what we're having the discussion about was how is that funded? I know that Dr. Ritter had mentioned last time that that's something the community should take on and should really step up. And I'm thinking something that Bright Futures has been very, very good at is getting that community involvement and buy-in. We had the guest tonight share, they brought in 50 faith-based, 50 companies, 50 new companies, not the ones that have been supporting before, and then 30 of the service organizations. So they have done what they said they wanted to do, and we've been able to service our kids. I don't have any concerns with any of those factors, but I still have reservations about spending towards the administrative and not towards the activities. That's my my belief, and I'm going to support option 3.
Remind me what that is.
Option 3, Joplin schools will not assist Bright Futures Joplin with their staff funding needs for the 2016-17 school year. What that means, the impact on Joplin schools, the staff at the sites will have to meet the needs of students that are currently being met by Bright Futures Joplin. I've looked into this to see what other impact does that have. I met with James Whitford, who is the director at Water Gardens, and one of the services that they are doing is similar to Crosslines, where they connect needs with organizations to serve them. Well, Crosslines is more of a database of people that they're serving. There's something called joplinresources.org that is the other direction. It says, we have these organizations that support clothing outreach. We have these organizations that support food outreach, food insecurity, utilities. There's a list of these, so when a need comes up, that's where you go. I saw in the clothing one, Bright Futures showed up on that one. I mean, so they're connecting with the community. It was connected back in September of last year. And one of the things that I read in their description was they do this outreach, but their direction in that document said you need to talk to the school counselor. And that's what we're saying that they need to do, is talk to the school counselor. So they're
in-house.
In-house. So they're pointing people to that resource also. I mean, and we are paying the school counselor salaries. And I know we had one speak tonight and say that they're overwhelmed with 600 kids and only one of her. That's difficult. I agree. And especially if we're going to talk about behavior and things that a counselor typically needs to spend time with. I get that. I'm let's say less emotional and more data-driven myself, and my opinion is we can make the most use of that money towards those students. And I did the calculation for the option 1, the $94,000, what that would provide each individual school and counselor is $700 a month that they can use towards funding those activities, those things, if it's clothing drive or support, whatever those things are. And that's just the let's say administrative cost. So whatever else was being paid towards the actual needs, that could continue. So we might be able to serve more kids. I know that there was some needs put out to say, okay, we're going to reduce the number of snack packs we do to this level, and sometimes what it says on a W-2 is not what you have at the end of the month. And so the more kids we can help, the better. And I think we can help more kids by putting those resources towards the students. So if anybody else wants to speak, or I'll make a motion.
Yeah, I think we have some more conversation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that tonight we had several people come up, and every one of them lined up in favor of Bright Futures, and not one person spoke against it. And so I guess my question, not having worked a great deal with Bright Futures, is the descriptions that you offer is who's going to administer these funds if not a Bright Futures person, leader, if you will. Dr. Ritter is already recommending to the board that we offer at least some sort of loan to that group to make sure that they still have that leadership there in place through December. And so I'm trying to figure out what the negative on that would be. Whereas what you're discussing with the board seems to be that we're not listening to the people who are donors to Bright Futures, and we had a teacher, we had a church person, we had a donor and board member. I'm not sure who we're listening to. I'm not sure where you're getting your information to decide that version 3 is where you want to go. And if there's data out there, you're data driven. That's fine. I'd like to know what that data is that suggests that a loan is going to somehow significantly deter the benefit of Bright Futures to our kids.
So you're asking for my rationale, you're not?
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean,
Yeah.
Bright Futures has depended upon its leadership since its inception to administer that program. And it sounds as though they're asking for our assistance in making sure that they have some leadership in place to continue to fund it with a paid position. And so if they're not going to have the funds to pay for it, because I believe most of the funds that they had were allocated to the schools in that memorandum that I read.
Right. So everything that has been donated to Bright Futures since January 1st has gone into their organization.
Right.
So they have access to all those funds. They can still use those however they see fit. Donor intent for them is crystal clear. There was a question about what is the legal view of commingled funds.
I get all that. I think my question is when, where are the donors coming to present to us that would be in opposition to Bright Futures? And I didn't hear one single donor to Bright Futures say, I don't want the money that I've donated to Bright Futures to be dedicated to a single person for wages or salary.
Or for the continuation. I mean, it's a loan, and to me, that meets the conversations I had about that's not donor intent. Well, it's a loan. It's not, I mean, we'll have to work out those details, but I think it's the best compromise. It continues with Bright Futures is a part of this community. It's embedded in this community. It started in this community. It's a great thing for us. It's something we can be proud of. I think you're helping them to laser focus on what the purpose is. And so concerns of Bright Futures of the past, I believe, are gone. So if you've had concerns about, Chris, you made a comment about administration and things, I think those things are gone. And this allows us to move forward, to stay focused on our kids, and it's a loan. It's not using the donor money, so we'll have to work out details to have that paid back. It's a win-win for both sides.
And just a couple of words, I assume that if they didn't need the money, they wouldn't be asking for it. I mean, that's just me. I don't know if that's right or not. I mean, I don't know what their funds that they've raised since January. I have no idea, and so I could be totally off base. And if I am, I apologize. But it seems to me as though...
I'm sorry, I had a hard time. Is there a motion on the table or
No,
not?
There's not. We're still in discussion.
And so...
Okay, thank you.
If they didn't need it, I'd assume that they wouldn't be asking for it.
Right.
And we just experienced this last weekend, the 5-year anniversary of the tornado, and it seems like right now is just, it's a critical time in our community that maybe they can capture some of this wave that we're enjoying, this tide, and maybe lift them up. And it's an opportunity for us to do that. And I think in the form of a loan, as Linda indicated, I do think that is a very fine compromise position at this point.
Okay. Lori,
I'd like to
sorry, just a second, Deb. Lori's next.
Hang on, Deb.
Lori's next, and then I'll come to you.
I wanted to share what my thinking was. I was contacted by lots of different people on both sides of the issue, and I listened to all of them. I respect their opinions. I respected their input. The thing that I think came through was that people are assuming that if these salaries aren't funded, that Bright Futures is going away. And I don't think that will happen at all. I think the community and the schools are too embedded. Bright Futures is too embedded in our schools and in our community. All those partnerships and site councils that have been developed, those aren't going to magically disappear if we don't give them $23,000 or whatever the amount is. That's the way I look at it. My biggest concern is we're a school district. And when we were elected to be school board members, we were expected to be fiscally responsible, and I don't feel like it's fiscally responsible for us to be making loans. Bright Futures had brought to us a memorandum of understanding so that they could be separated and fall under the umbrella of the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. So would it be more feasible for them to go to the Community Foundation of the Ozarks and ask for a loan, or Bright Futures USA and ask for a loan, or find a grant?
Let's try and get
Or a
around
volunteer
once,
or
and then we'll come
something
back.
to kind of take over some of that. That's my thinking.
Okay, Deb, it's your turn.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'd make a motion that we
Okay.
adopt option 3, that we
Okay,
not support salaries.
we're not taking motions at the moment. We're still in discussion. Sorry, I wanted everybody to have a chance to speak, speak once before we start repeating each other. Jennifer, do you want to say something?
Well, I guess I'm sort of confused, because the person who spoke was saying that Bright Futures does not do snack packs. They don't provide for the needs, immediate needs for kids.
They do the work for snack packs.
So we're doing that already. I mean, we've got to be doing that within our system already. And, so I guess, are they asking for money to fund somebody within our systems, to put somebody here at admin that is strictly a Bright Futures person? And that's the position they're asking? Are they asking for a position, Director of Community Engagement within Joplin Schools? Or are they asking for?
To name the position is Dale, basically. And basically Dale really manages the snack pack program.
Okay.
And he manages a lot of the work in the system, so that's what it is. To
Okay,
help
so it is,
clarify.
they do want to fund a job within our school
A
district?
school employee or a Bright
school
Futures
employee
employee?
or a Bright Futures
It would
employee?
be, well, it would be, I see it as a Bright Futures employee, yes.
I believe, though, let me ask Norman this, but isn't your understanding that it would be someone hired on our payroll, that we would be it would attach
that
to our
way. Is that
payroll
what you meant
benefits?
by
Well, based on the loan situation, I mean, that was my understanding. If it was a loan, that we would pay that, then they would pay us back, but that they would be administering this stuff under as a Bright Futures, or as a Joplin employee.
That's my understanding, it would
Well,
be.
that's why I'm wondering, is there an employee that we already have that can do this? Like we have talked about, a social worker, that's how Web City does theirs. There's not a separate Web City Cares employee. They don't
We
have
do-
employees.
We do have a strategy in place to bring social workers in, case managers in,
Right.
but we don't want them to do this. That's totally
But I
different.
guess that's what I'm asking, is I think that
And
the
those aren't going to
conversation
be
we.
on our payroll either, by the way.
Okay, well, but we are able to handle this within our system, and I agree with Lori. I don't think that we're in a position to make loans. I just would feel really uncomfortable doing that, quite honestly, because how do you keep track of that? How do you keep track of the payment back? I mean, we're not a bank.
Okay.
I agree with that, but I
So-
think we have the ability to work that position out if we felt that it provided a need for our students and in our district, which I feel that it does, in our community.
Okay, Chris, you've been very quiet. Do you have anything you want to share?
Taking it all in. I thought there was 2 salaries they were asking for.
Well, they're.
In their letter, they were, yes.
They were.
But, yeah, the
And then-
compromise is
And then
different.
Norm
That didn't
talked
become
with
part of
his.
the options.
Yeah, that's option
So
one.
this may not even be
That's the
anything
first
they want.
option.
They may not want.
And
this,
then
but-
Norm
I made a
talked with his
recommendation.
staff and said, hey, recommend option 2. And then there's option 3. So,
Okay.
anybody else want to sit? Okay.
I think coming from the experience that I had as an elementary school principal, I was there at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what we did before, I knew what we did after Bright Futures, and I knew how it worked and where that information went to. So I've seen it work before, and I think,
Mm-hmm.
My judgment may be a little bit jaded because I have that experience of seeing how it worked before.
Well-
The thing I have a concern about, if I may, can I speak? I need to get you, okay. The thing I have a concern about, with the new focus that we have as a district, to really get kids to the readiness indicators or standards, we can't expect the principals and the counselors and the teachers to do
No.
this. We can't do
You
that.
can expect volunteers and
Yeah.
other
Right.
people to come in,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
partnerships that
We
we've
just
built.
basically, we have to protect that. That's sacred territory. Okay, so just everybody understands that, so.
I think it's important to,
Lori, you having worked with Bright Futures, I have not. So, I mean, your insight is very helpful to me. But I think the question I would have for you is if Bright Futures was in fact helpful to your position as a principal, I think that you need to question whether or not we need to continue, we might fund it, because if you recognize the origination point, I believe that the people were employed through an original grant. That people have been paid at Bright Futures since its inception. The question is who has been paying for it. And initially it was a grant. That grant has since, it's my understanding, ceased. And so I think I would, personally, from my perspective, I'd like to see them apply for that funding again if it's available, which I don't know if it's available. But in the interim, I would hate to lose this person that we're talking about because we're not going to extend a loan that I think, you know, I guess you can talk about it with school money, but I would assume that the loan is funded with monies that are in that very trust that you were talking about, that it was set up as a result of the memorandum of understanding, so that if you've got $280,000 there right now, you'd be talking about placing, say, $30,000 at risk to fund this one position with a loan. And how does it work out on the paperwork? I'm not sure, but if we recognize that people have always been paid at Bright Futures, this is not unique. It's not been completely performed by volunteers the whole
But
time.
I don't think they've always been paid. I don't recognize that.
Okay.
Yeah.
A question for Norman Rouse. Is the MOU that the board approved in December's meeting, does that MOU provide a loan provision should the board choose to?
There is, yes, there is a provision, because when the MOU was originally drafted, Bright Futures started with no money. I mean, Bright Futures, the not-for-profit, started with no money. All the money was stayed with the school. They knew there was to be a few fundraisers coming up, but it was anticipated that they would need support in the first year to get off the ground. So there's a provision in the MOU that allows for a loan to Bright Futures up through the first year, the end of this year, if the board so inclined. So the MOU, it was anticipated a loan may be necessary. Well, MOU did provide for the mechanism for a loan.
Wasn't that loan, though, for like their golf tournament, if they needed things to run their fundraiser, we could loan them the money and they pay us back out of the
Short-term is what you're
proceeds
saying.
of the,
It
isn't that
was-
what the loan was?
It was,
We did loan money, I believe.
No.
no, we haven't loaned any money
No, we
yet.
haven't loaned any money.
For
There's-
gifts.
But isn't that what the
Giveaways.
loan was?
Yeah.
I mean, part of the loan could be for fundraising. I mean, the idea was you're gonna have to get people out raising money, you're gonna have to get it funded.
Right.
And to do that.
Yeah. I think that was
I
the
remember
6-month
agreeing
window.
that. Yeah,
Last thing I
yeah.
want to share, and Ms.
Then
Wilson.
again, it's all discretionary with the board.
Miss Wilson, who came and talked to us, I'm so glad she did, because she expressed something that I think has been maybe disconnected. She said she is so very glad her church got involved in helping, and she loves supporting Bright Futures. I want her to love supporting our students at Irving. I want that direct connection, and I'm not asking anybody to go away. Bright Futures is a part of that. I want those groups to want to come and help our students directly. But
And they won't go away.
with that, I'm going to make a motion that we adopt option 3 in the package.
A second.
Okay?
Can you read that again?
Option 3, Joplin schools will not assist Bright Futures Joplin with their staff funding needs for the 2016-17 school year.
And that's one of the options. That's the
Yep.
last one.
That's, so I moved and Jennifer seconded. Please vote. Deb?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Passes.
No.
No, and yes. Okay. The motion passes. Last item on the agenda, the plus delta.
Yeah, if I may direct that, this is part of getting better as a board. And what we're going to have a conversation around now is, you know, as we look over this last our practice tonight, the agenda, things like that, what really went well. And then what we're going to do is have a conversation about opportunities for improvement. What could we have done better as far as the agenda and our behaviors tonight and stuff like that. So let's start with what went well tonight. Pat's going to keep track of it. And then what happens, by the way, with the plus delta, that's what this is basically we're going to keep track of this, and we're seeing
if we're getting better
deltas. That means we need to make some intentional targets as far as change is concerned. So this won't take long. So what went well tonight from your point of view?
I like the cross-table discussion between board members. I think that most of our questions can be answered of the people that sit there by asking those questions before. We can incorporate that into our discussions with each other as to why we support or don't support something. I feel that we direct a lot of our comments to the people from administration that are presenting, and really, I feel we should prepare before we come in, and we did that. I thought very well tonight.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, anything else?
I think it is nice that we can respectfully agree or disagree.
Yep.
And it's not, it's productive. It's not anything that stops. We don't sit here and look at each other like, you know, I think we can respectfully work together, and I think that we're doing that.
So the conversation, the listening.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
These are tough decisions we're making, and it's, you know, it's not easy, as everyone knows, sitting here. So I appreciate, even though I may not agree with people at different times, that I still feel like they support me as a person and respect my opinion, so.
Okay. All right. So opportunities for improvement. What could we do to improve as a board?
Well, for information, the budget will now be coded better so that we can understand where the money's going and where did it come out of.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
So we don't.
Gives us more information to study beforehand.
Right.
Yeah, I'm beginning to feel that we need to get you guys more information in a lot of ways. Okay, so in other words, you're coming prepared, but maybe you need more information to be better prepared. So, okay, good. Another one.
I'm back.
Okay.
The better thing, I didn't take the break at 90 minutes like I should have.
That's true.
Oh, good
I
point.
watched it,
I
but
did.
Yeah, we took her out.
Okay.
and so in the future, just I was trying to gauge everybody, so we should take that break even if we're in a good flow, because don't pour that now.
Okay, anything else as far as ways to get better? Anything else?
I can think.
All right. Nope, that is
We can
all.
follow Robert's Rules of Orders maybe a little better, kind of help move our.
Do we have an
our-
expert here? Do we have an
true.
expert? Do you know Robert's rules?
Kinda.
Okay, so
I studied.
I don't know where we went off
remember it.
track.
Okay,
You don't use it, you lose
I think
it.
we're doing a pretty
I
good
think,
job.
I think when it's time to have that cross-table discussion, I think we're afraid to put a motion out there, wait for it to get seconded, and then have the discussion.
Yeah.
That's
So
actually correct.
That's
in
the
order.
way you're supposed to do it.
Right.
But also,
But-
I'm sorry.
But I think sometimes the discussion might change the way my opinion is. You might say something that's compelling that I hadn't considered if I start from a closed point of view with this is my idea. And so,
With the motion on the floor.
with the motion on the floor, exactly. So I liked having an opportunity for us to talk before we shared, because I mean, that's my.
Anyway, I'm going to be guilty of this myself, but we should always get the president's attention so that he can recognize us to speak. So it's not a case of everybody's
That's a
doing
good
it on their
point.
own. So anyway.
That's a good point.
Anyway, it's something to think about. That's parliamentary procedure, by the way.
Yep.
Anything else?
Okay.
I would like to see us, so that, for the people that are Skyping in or whatever, I think we need a
Have
computer
something.
screen.
A bigger screen,
That's
yeah.
distracting to us here, and it was
Okay.
hard
Eric,
for
what-
Debbie
yeah. Can we
it
do
was
that?
hard for Debbie to have
You'll figure it
to,
out?
Yeah.
All
and
right.
then
Okay.
Jennifer can put her hand down and talk with her hands. and-
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. That's good.
All right.
I have one last thing. We all were able to attend the graduation.
Oh, that was
And
awesome.
It was just an awesome time. And, you know, with all the issues, and sometimes we might disagree on how we vote and that sort of thing. And with all the things that happen, it's always cool to see that we're still teaching kids, and we're still graduating graduates. It's just, it's cool to see, and I was excited to be there.
Sometimes I forget.
All right, so I would be happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that.
All right, Lori moved.
I'll second that.
Jennifer second. Please vote, Deb.
Yes.
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 Yes, we're adjourned.
So we don't need to go into closed session.
No, we're done. We're finished.
No, because you're.